Exciting news! The free Rainbow Push mobile app is ready for download. Get all the news and schedules for the upcoming convention and more. Go to the Rainbow Push homepage at www.rainbowpush.org to download app today. Noticias importantes. La aplicación móvil y gratis de Rainbow Push está lista para utilizar. Obtengan todas las noticias y horarios para la próxima convención y mucho más. Visiten la página de inicio de Rainbow Push en www.rainbowpush.org para descargar la aplicación hoy. Register today for the Rainbow Push Coalition and Citizenship Education Fund's 46th Annual International Convention, Wednesday, July 12th through July 15th, 2017, at the Hilton and Towers in Chicago, Illinois. The theme this year is Heal and Rebuild. For further information, go to www.rainbowpush.org or call 773-373-3366. July 12th through July 15th, 2017, Chicago, Illinois.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
You tuned into another live broadcast of the Rainbow Push Coalition. We're excited. It's Memorial Day weekend. We're honoring our veterans. Listen, you still have time to get here. Jonathan Luther Jackson is here. Listen, call somebody, text somebody, tweet somebody. Let them know that the push is still on. us up right now on your radio. Turn us up right now on your smart device. We are live all over the world. You should call us right now, 773-256-2775. 773-256-2775. We are live right now on WVON AM 1690 and iHeartRadio. And we are streaming live right now at rainbowpush.org, rainbowpush.org. Click on the live stream button, and you can watch us live on YouTube and on Facebook and, of course, on live stream. We're grateful for each of you who continue to watch us wherever you are all over the world, in your homes, your automobiles, your places of business. We sincerely thank God for you. To our international audience, we want to especially welcome you, those who are watching us right now in Egypt, in Brazil, in Morocco, in Germany, in the United Kingdom. We thank God for you. And those of you who watch us right here in the United States, especially our satellite cities of New York, Washington, D.C., Detroit, Atlanta, and Silicon Valley. Listen, today we are honoring our veterans in a major way. Let's give a big hand to our veterans who have given so much for so many. On this Memorial Day weekend, we had a great celebration, a great breakfast honoring their service to our community, and we will honor more of them during our broadcast, so don't turn that dial. We will honor them momentarily. Listen, today we want to dedicate the broadcast to a member of our family, the Reverend Tyrone Crider, pastor of the Mount Calvary Baptist Church. I want to dedicate this broadcast to his family. Pastor Crider made his transition on last night, and so our hearts mourn the loss of a great man. He served as our national youth director and our national director of our organization, and so he will be missed in a tremendous way. He was also the SGA president, student body president at Morehouse College, and served in various leadership roles, and so we miss him dearly. Funeral arrangements are pending. And also the family of Brother Charles Petty. We are praying for that family right now. Listen, our annual convention is approaching. We're excited about it. All roads lead to Chicago, July 12th through the 15th. July 12th through the 15th. As we continue on this fight to protect and gain and defend civil rights for people all over the world, you need to be here. Registration is now open. We have early bird registration open at $100. We're having a special meeting this Wednesday right here at Rainbow Push Coalition, 930 East 50th Street, 930 East 50th Street. We're calling all clergy, all interfaith leaders to meet us 12 noon to 2 p.m. right here. We have a special luncheon explaining more about how we're mobilizing for our annual convention. So meet us here at 930 East 50th Street this Wednesday. And Reverend Wilson will come momentarily with more information about how you can register and be a part of this great celebration, our 46th annual International Convention. Listen, Reverend Jackson is not here with us. He's in the D.C. area. If you're in the D.C. area on tomorrow morning, you can hear him deliver a powerful message at the Community of Hope AME Church in Hillcrest, Maryland at 10 a.m., where our friend and brother, Pastor Tony Lee, serves as the pastor. Reverend Jackson will be there at 10 a.m. You can follow Reverend Jackson right now on Twitter at Rev J. Jackson. You can like him on Facebook, Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. Tonight, you can watch up front right here on our website, rainbowpush.org, 9 p.m. Central Time. Tonight's show will highlight our work, Reverend Jackson's work in Silicon Valley through our Push Tech 2020 initiative. You will see more about how we're trying to get every church, 1,000 churches across the country, to have computers and tech labs in their churches tonight, 9 p.m. Central Time, right here on our website, rainbowpush.org. And also tomorrow morning, start your week off right by listening to Keep Hope Alive Radio right here on WVON, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time, and also on iHeartRadio and KeepHopeAliveRadio.com. Tomorrow's broadcast will focus again on celebrating our veterans and the real meaning of the Memorial Day holiday weekend. Listen, as I mentioned, Reverend Wilson is here. She's our National Executive Director of Push Excel, and she's going to give you more details about our 46th Annual International Convention. So let's greet her warmly as she comes.
Good morning, Rainbow Push family. We have an exciting convention. It opens on Wednesday. Wednesday, we have all of our international guests. James Gomez, our International Affairs Director, bringing people from the continent of Africa, from the Caribbean, and some from Haiti, all over the world will be here opening our convention with the International Business Day, talking about doing business on the continent, doing business around the world, as well as doing business where we are. And then at noon, we have Terry McAuliffe, who is the governor of Virginia. He will be here speaking. We also have the vice president of Intel will be a part of the business luncheon. But I can't tell you, I'm so excited. We're having a technology expo. You know that Breadbasket created the first expo, Black Expo, and then from Breadbasket, others just took the model and moved it. So now we're going to create a technology expo. This expo is going to have an education gallery walk. We want educators, parents, and community leaders come and see what this technology is providing in terms of how you can offer education, teaching coding, how you can teach history in a virtual sense, how you can connect your students in Chicago with students who are studying in India and in other places around the world, China and Japan and all over the world. We're going to have this technology expo. It's going to be hands-on. You don't want to miss it. So you want to register, if for no other reason, to come to the expo. Then we're giving away our scholarships on Wednesday night. Students who are applying for the Oral Lee Saunders Scholarship, they will receive their scholarships. Students who are applied and receiving the Cyrilla McSween Scholarship, one of our founding board members who created a scholarship with the New York Life Insurance Company where he was the $1 million salesman. We're going to be opening that night, and we have some special surprise honorees. We are probably going to have somebody representing Hidden Figures on Wednesday night. So you got to register, and you have to purchase a scholarship event ticket to get in. And then we have timeless gifts. Our young people will be performing. So you're going to see youth all day on Wednesday, every part of the day. We're going to have international students will be at the convention. I just wish I had more time, but you know, Jonathan is coming and I have to give him more time. So then let me move on to Thursday morning. If you are a member of a labor union and you're not getting the wages that you think you should have, you need to be at the labor breakfast on Wednesday. Tom Perez, the head of the DNC, will be the speaker. He was the former Secretary of Labor. But we're going to be talking about wages. We're going to be talking about temp workers. We're going to be talking about our fight. Omar Sharif is bringing all of the unemployed construction workers, because leading up to the convention, we're going back to old school. We're getting ready to shut down construction sites. If you don't see us working, I want you to call us right now. Tell us where you see construction, you don't see any black people. We're going to shut them down. Every day, every week, we're going to cut it out or cut us in. We're going to start with State Street. They're building a tennis court. I don't know how many of you play tennis, but I know we can build that court. We can put the walls in. We can put the roof on. We can put the floor in. We don't put it in, nobody gets to play because we're going to shut it down. Meet us here. Yeah, you better be here next Saturday because we're going to be building up for the shutdown. Building up for the shutdown. 35th Street. Can't be building where we live and we can't work. We're not a violent people, we are unemployed people. So we're gonna take back the jobs that you took from us. We're gonna work, and if we don't work, nobody works. And if you're unemployed, you don't have to fight, just march about it, picket about it, shut it down. They're gonna cut us in or cut it out. I wish I had more time, because I'm so excited. Well, anyway, that's why you need to be at the labor breakfast, because by then we will have shut down enough sites where our contractors can get some work. Now, we're saying to the black GCs, if we tell the majority contractors they gotta hire black people, we do not expect you to be a front. We will shut you out too. We want black subs, black electrical, black plumbing, black painters, we gotta be fair, and when we ask others to be fair, we want you to be fair too. So if you don't wanna cut us in, we don't want you to work either. I know Reverend is watching. I'm sorry, Reverend, I just couldn't. Omar told me to say this because we're gonna be shutting it out. Meeting with all contractors this coming Friday. If you have a construction company, if you wanna work, meet us at Push on Friday morning. We're going to turn it up or turn it out. Okay, that's just, and then Reverend William Barber will be here for the ministers' luncheon, and we'll be back to a peaceful, but I don't think so, because Reverend Barber is renewing the Poor People's Campaign. We cannot exist in this country and act like poverty is a way of life in the richest country in the world. We are now moving to address the issues of poverty, and you're going to hear some people that come behind me that talk about what we're going to do in Chicago as a model. We've always been the model. We first elect people to the presidency, you know. We were the first to elect a woman to the United States Senate, so we're going to be first in addressing systemically poverty in an urban city. But then on Thursday night, we're going to talk about life beyond the playing field so that our young athletes know they have to think about more than bouncing a ball, throwing a ball, kicking a ball. They got to think about how do you live when your knees hurt? How do you live after you're no longer selected by the NFL, the NBA, so life beyond the playing field, and Bishop Bryant will be sharing more of that on coming weeks. We'll give you more details. And then Friday morning, we have our health care breakfast. We have a health care plenary. We have a major plenary on credit and how do we survive in this bankrupt economy that seems to put us under. Jonathan's been talking about it. And then the biggest day after education is going to be the women's luncheon, We got women who shut down the world. We're going to make sure that women are energized and mobilized. We have some powerful women speakers. And then that night, we're going to have a gubernatorial debate. And we want you to be here, but you got to register. $100 if you're under 65, and $35 if you're 65 and a student. $35 is registration. Everybody must register. We're coming out with our platform, our progressive. It's not a black platform, it's not a white platform, it's not a Hispanic. It is a progressive platform to change the conditions under which we're living. And that gubernatorial debate, we've invited all the candidates. We want them to be here at Rainbow Push. We're going to have our first gubernatorial debate on Friday night, and then Saturday morning. Many of you listen to Keep Hope Alive Radio. Well, Betty Magnus has convened all of the people that you didn't see, that you can see. They're going to be on the radio. Well, now to talk about how we are going to look at poverty and unemployment and violence in Chicago, which is a major problem, we have three speakers. We have attorney Ebony Lucas. She's a real estate lawyer. She's been working to try to keep property in the hands of the original owners. And then we're going to talk about the role of governmental bodies, Commissioner Boykin, who you've seen here on a number of Saturdays. And then we're going to talk about what's happening at Chicago State. The school is open and students are there, and so we'll have Mr. Paul Vallis tell you a little bit about some special programs at Chicago State. They will come in that order.
Good morning. We had a press conference yesterday about the joblessness in Chicago and the fact that Illinois has been named the highest rate of unemployment amongst blacks in the country. And what we are doing as the city of Chicago to improve joblessness. And one of the things that we talked about is the fact that we closed 50 schools, and it cost us over $30 million to close those schools. And then now that the schools are closed, we're spending over $5 million a year to maintain those empty buildings. And that's money that can be spent on people. We can be creating in those empty buildings that are now sitting as eyesores in our community, tech centers and opportunities to train people to work in construction. So we really need to start thinking out of the box and using these closed schools, which are still resources that we're spending money on in our community, and spend that money on creating jobs and opportunities and education for our black men, so that after Memorial Day, we're not talking about all of the violence that's in our community, because the violence is necessarily a result of joblessness and hopelessness. Thank you.
Good morning, Rainbow Push. Come on, good morning. You can do better than that. to Reverend Jackson in his absence, to Jonathan Jackson, who will bring a great message, and to all of you, I greet you with great joy. Look, statisticians and government officials are crowing about the record low levels of unemployment in our country, but the reality of it is that black people in America, and especially black people who live in the state of Illinois, are in dire straits. Look, let me tell you, so Ebony talked about it, unemployment in Illinois, for black Americans, we lead the country. That is a statistic that we should not be proud about. We all know that unemployment, it drives violence. We know that it causes stress. We know that it causes premature death. Look, there's so many negative things that happen as a result of unemployment. In fact, one of the things that I did when I looked at this report that the Illinois Public Policy Institute put out on unemployment, Mississippi, a state that was sweltering with oppression, a state that has a black population of 38%. They do a better job of employing black folks than the state of Illinois. Something is wrong with that picture, and we must do something about it. And so look, for me, work is a basic human right. It is a dignity to be able to meet your obligations and to support your family. The reality of it is that we work because we want to keep pace with the earth and with the soul of the earth. And when we stand by and become idle, the reality of it is that we become a stranger unto the seasons, and that we step out of life's procession. And so I come to encourage you today to rise up, black men, rise up, black women, and demand an opportunity to work. And when we work in our passion, it's not work at all, it's love actually in action. So I encourage you to find your passion, that thing for which God has created you to do. And when you find that passion, you'll find that the work that you do is really contributing to the creativity and the movement of our earth and our planet and to our people. And so find that thing for which God has placed you on this planet, and that is not work at all, that's fun. Ask Michael Jordan, he found that thing. Now, I will say this, that black men in Chicago, over half of the black men in Chicago ages 20 to 24, out of work and out of school. In Chicago's neighborhoods, in Austin, unemployment at 21%. In West Garfield, unemployment at 25%. In West Englewood, unemployment at 34%. Those are Great Depression level unemployment numbers. We must put a plan together. We must have a Marshall Plan to put people back to work and rebuild our urban American cities. We must do it, and we must do it now. Rise up, rise up, rise up. Thank you.
Well, it's good to be back. Thank you so much for the invitation to come. Let's give the commission a round of applause again. Nothing like an opportunity to get us energized. Omar, I'm looking at you sitting there. Remember the old CPS days, 1995? Between 1995 and 2001, $1.72 billion in construction went to women and minority-owned businesses, and 58% of those construction hours were performed by minorities. No one can say that it cannot be done. No one can say that it cannot be done. It can be done. You set parameters, you set goals, you enforce those goals, and you remove the obstacles to allow those businesses to get bonded and insured, and there's plenty of minority companies and minority workers who can fill those jobs. That's a fact. 78 schools built in 6 years. That is a fact. Well, I'm here not to talk about that, but I heard Reverend, and of course Reverend worked with me for so many years, and I remember Omar, coming in and putting the arm on me and basically saying, if you're going to have a major construction program, you've got to make sure that that construction program shares the resources in the community. So at the end of the day, it can be done. So I just felt that I would make those observations. But let me say that I'm here on behalf of the new president of Chicago State University, Rachel Lindsay, Dr. Rachel Lindsay, a longtime teacher and dean at that university, and of course Reverend Hatch, to say that Chicago State is not only open, Chicago State is thriving. We are going to continue to expand our program offerings, and we're going to continue to find the most effective, creative ways to serve the community. Now, we are in a budget crisis like every university in this state. And sometimes it's not until the universities, the other universities in this state, start feeling the pain that people start paying attention to the plight of the universities. But rain or shine or whatever happens in Springfield, we are open, and we're going to continue to remain open. We were not sent there to, in effect, close the university. We were sent there to strengthen and to grow that university. Because as you know, in September, it's the 150th anniversary of Chicago State University. That is a historic university in the heart of the South Side. And we are going to work to transform that university into the type of economic engine that other universities have done in their communities. So I just want to tell you, I just want to encourage you all. And you look at our programs, our post-secondary programs. And in about a week, we officially have the grand opening of the Veterans Center that are going to be staffed and operated by the National Association of Black Veterans, who are going to be running that center. And they're going to be providing veterans with service opportunities. They're going to be providing veterans with information about educational opportunities and connecting them to their service needs. They're going to provide them with access to job bank resources if they're looking for post-veteran work. So we're going uptown. We are moving forward. The university is going to continue to thrive. But what you've got to do is you've got to get the word out for us. We need to double our enrollment and eventually triple our enrollment, not to mention the fact that we need to be matching our on-site enrollment with online enrollment. And we will do it. We will do it with the leadership. We will do it with the leadership of Dr. Lindsay, and we'll do it with the leadership of Reverend Hatch. I just want to make one more comment. 3 of my board members, or 3 of my bosses right now, just happened to have been students in the Chicago Public Schools. Think about that for a second. They happen to have been students in the Chicago Public Schools. I just hope I didn't, take any of the, extracurricular activity money away from their schools when I was a school superintendent. But if that doesn't give you a feeling of great pride, I don't know what does. But I want to thank you all for indulging me. Thank you, Jeanette, for letting me run 2 minutes over. She gave me the 3-minute warning. And God bless each and every one of you, and I'll see you at the convention.
Come on, give it up for Paul Vallis, Commissioner Boykin, and Attorney Lucas. Call us right now, 773-256-2775. Reverend Jackson wants to hear from you, 773-256-2775. Listen, our oratorical student this week is Brother Gabriel Gatherwright. He is in the 6th grade at Brookwood Middle School here in Chicago, and he's going to give an excerpt of the poem From Father to Son. Following his speech, we will hear from our choir. Then the next speaking voice you will hear will be that of our powerful, dynamic national spokesman, Jonathan Luther Jackson. Come on, let's make some noise as they come in that order.
Good morning, everyone. I will recite the speech From Father to Son by Sylvester Stallone. I remember holding you up and saying, this kid is gonna be somebody. You started out right. You started believing in yourself. You succeeded your goals I didn't think you were gonna succeed. Then there came the time you had to be your own man. You succeeded goals, and then you changed. You let somebody stick a finger in your face and say you're no good. So let me tell you something that you already know. The world isn't all sunshine and rainbows. The world is a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are. It will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or no one else is gonna hit you as hard as life will. It's not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know how much you're worth, then go out and get how much you're worth. Be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you aren't where you want to be because of him or her or anyone else. Cowards do that, and that is not you. You're better than that. I will always love you, no matter what happens. You're my blood. You're my son. You're the best thing that happened in my life. But unless you start believing in yourself, you'll never have a life. I found that in my life, I've met so many people who are much smarter than me, much talented than me, and much luckier than me. But what made me more successful at the end of the day was my ability to get hit again and again and again, and to keep moving forward. I never gave up. However, I've had many of friends who've been hit hard by life and could never find the courage to get up again. Instead, they stop dreaming and start to accept this mediocre life. I've been hit hard by life. I felt I had problems I could never solve. I even felt life was too bad or too painful to live. But what kept me going was knowing no matter how bad, no problem will last forever. Every recession will end. Dawn breaks at the darkest hour. It was this belief that allowed me to keep getting up. And Reverend Jackson, I know you're watching. I love you, sir. And I thank you for this platform that you gave me and young people out there that you will give in the future. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Well, I wanna clap a little louder than before. Clap, clap, clap. I wanna sing a little louder than before. I wanna worship deeper than before. I gotta love you more than before. Everybody say freedom. Yeah. Yes, we're free indeed. Yes, we're free. Oh, sing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. I am free. Hallelujah, free indeed. Free to dance, free to sing, free to shout. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Say freedom. Yes, we're free indeed.
Thank you. And to those in television and radio land and in the presence today, we thank you for being here. This is a time that we've set aside to commemorate our veterans on this Memorial Day. We thank those that have served our country proudly, and I would ask that the veterans that are in attendance today to please stand so we can give you a loving round of applause. We thank our veterans, and our veterans that have tuned in on television and radio land, please be seated, and we thank you for your service. My father, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, oftentimes comments on our nation loves our soldiers, so bright, so young, so full of energy, but we look down upon our veterans. We're so selfish. We have a love for those that are going to go away and do something for us. But those men and those women that come back home are no longer young and no longer untested. When they come back and they need us, then we become indifferent to see that our homeless population is filled with veterans of war. Says something that is sin-sick to the core about our nation. Our veterans should have the best of everything when they return home. One of the things, before I get to my message, I want to remind you of is what Mr. George W. Bush did. It was the first time in our nation's history when we were headed to war and a president reduced taxes. By definition, when you're going to war, you're going to spend more. War is expensive. You raise taxes during a time of war. We should raise the taxes on those that are making the most, those that are benefiting the most, those that are profiting off of the pain and misery of our soldiers and our veterans. I'd like to give a very special warm thank you to all of those that have prayed for our family this past week. My grandmother Gertrude is gaining strength. Love Grandma Gertrude, a mother, a scholar, a student. Also the mother of a veteran. My grandfather Jackson and grandfather Brown are both veterans. And I couldn't help but think about Memorial Day in another light this year. That we have a generation now that's living, Mr. Boykin, that doesn't even know all of the wars of the veterans that are currently alive. We've engaged in so many wars as a country. Our young people are so indifferent. And I'm not saying they're doing anything wrong. I'm saying that the federal government, if need be, should turn over all the television, radio, internet airwaves to set aside a moment, a time to acknowledge all of the veterans that have served our nation. My remarks today shall be short. I'll take them from the first book of Corinthians, the 11th chapter, 26th verse. Lest we forget, it's not going to be complicated today. Lest we forget. Why are we talking about Memorial Day? Do we need a Memorial Day? Who thinks that Memorial Day is about the kickoff of the summertime? Lest we forget. Who thinks that Memorial Day is the first time that we bring out the grill for barbecues and hot dogs and cards and dominoes? Lest we forget the reason and the origin of a Memorial Day. Lest we forget how we've come this far. When we see a young soldier at Bowie State that gets killed by a random attack, when I don't see the President of the United States acknowledge a young officer killed on American soil, say nothing about this young man's death. When I don't see senators that say they're strong, but they look like cowards and weak-kneed to me. When I don't see those in the Justice Department stand up for a domestic soldier, a young man in Maryland, one of our own that we can't speak up for, lest we forget. I can get very passionate about it. I am as much against Hitler, Langston Hughes said, as I am against Jim Crow. We talk about the Union soldier my father told me about, and the fascism that lives and reigns right here in America. When you segregate, isolate, degrade people, keep away them from justice, keep them away from education, keep them away from employment in Chicago. when you have one of the richest states in the whole world, 5th largest economy in the country, and we have the highest level of unemployment for the African American community, something is wrong, lest we forget. My father always tells me to speak up, speak high, have a source of inspiration. And I'm going to do that. But he knows every now and then I've got to dig down and pull up some weeds. When we have the highest level of unemployment for the African American community, when 300,000 African Americans have been targeted, scammed, preyed upon, houses taken, wealth destroyed, stripped, removed from this great metropolis that was founded by Jean-Baptiste DuSable. Chicago was so tough on DuSable, they buried him in Missouri in a debtor's grave. Still don't honor and recognize him in downtown. We have a Kinsey Street. When you go by the mayor's office, there's a little picture that says, Kinsey, the first white settlers in Chicago. Lest we forget, it's in your face. So what am I saying to you right now when I pull up this weed right quick and then go back up to where Lord wants us to be? When you got 6 people elected from your community that want to stand and endorse a mayor that hasn't even sought re-election, that hasn't even asked them for anything, that's a shame. Some things are just a low-down, no good, dirty, rotten shame. Lest you forget who put you in the office. You're not being sent to us, you come from us to represent us. Lest we forget, when you have a collective sort of amnesia and you don't know your mother or your father's name, and I've been so blessed. I wasn't endowed with wealth from my mother and father, but we've had a wealth, if you look at it in terms of history and culture. When I know my father's name, when I know my mother and raised under my mother and father's roof, when I know my grandparents on both sides, when they've been around my entire life, when I didn't necessarily want to go to college, and my grandmother was in high school getting her GED, and looked at me and said, where are you going to college? I had to make up a name real quick. And I went to North Carolina A&T. I thank God for the historical black colleges that can deal with those that may not have the confidence and the courage, those that may be late bloomers, those that end up strong finishers, those that they can fill back up whatever's broken on the inside, that can fight and live another day. I thank God for North Carolina A&T. Northwestern was fine, but that's not where my education came from. Lest we forget, when our elected officials aren't leading us, and those that will leave come through here, not during election season, but they come all around because we need things in and out of season. Thank you, Commissioner Boykin. When unemployment is like a disease, when it's killing our community, when it's crippling us, when segregation and discrimination is hurting us, and those that we look up to are silent. Why am I here today? This is also a part of my health care program coming to Rainbow Push. What do I mean by that? I'm not going to sit around passing notes, complaining at home. I'm not going to be whispering, talking silent. I'm not going to be saying something about the mayor, the president, or the attorney general, having myself stressed out, having a head full of gray hair, having myself with a bald head, having myself obese. Sometimes men need to show up. Sometimes men need to remember. Sometimes men need to show their face, show your hand, put your name on it. Brothers and sisters, lest we forget, we're at a critical juncture. Cowardice and compromise is killing us. Cowardice, compromise is killing us. When you represent the African American community, you have to inform us. You have to have good character. And then you have to lead. You have to have an opinion. Let it be rooted in fact. Let people know your conclusion. We've got so many wafflers, backsliders. I like a joke. Some of my best friends are jokes. Holler back when you get the point. Some of my best friends are jokes. We don't have enough people that are willing to sacrifice. Lest we forget, why do we need a Memorial Day? These were black soldiers that were in Charleston, South Carolina, that went on to pray over the consecrated graves of those that had died fighting in the Civil War. Oh, that wasn't that long ago. You heard Mr. Paul Vallis talk about status founded 1867, just 150 years ago. Morehouse College founded just 150 years ago. Brother B. Hayes, he says for his compromise, he was going to take the federal troops out of the South, and that collapsed the last three Republican governors that were supporting African American causes and Reconstruction. We've gone through this backwards progress, if you will, this retrogress, because of the lack of federal protection. When they say, what is Mr. Trump doing? Mr. Trump is fighting for what he believes in. What has Mr. Trump done? Please don't tell me he hasn't done anything. Please don't tell me he's a fool. When you use all of the legal, legislative power you have and you hit the nuclear option and you put Mr. Gorsuch as a Supreme Court justice, my children's children will live with his decisions. He's moving. When you put Mr. Sessions, the original mongoose, over the chicken coop, and he says he's going to recuse himself from the investigation, and they get an underling to fire by recommendation the FBI, and now Mr. Sessions is going to interview who will replace him. Don't tell me he's not moving. But I don't care what they're going to do, because they're going to fight for what they believe in. I want to leave you with a challenge. Lest you forget, what are you going to fight for? I want to know, what are you going to believe in? I know it ain't Jackson, it ain't Jesse, it ain't them, it ain't that. Well, it's on you. What are you gonna do? I know Jesse didn't do this. I disagree with that. Well, let me ask you this. How long have you been living in this city and never, ever showed up for a march? You've never found anything to march for. You've never found anything to stand up for. You've never found anything to put your name on. You never found something to sacrifice. Lest we forget, how did we get here? This has been a trickle, trickle, trickle. My father, the Reverend Jackson, bless his heart, with the last breath in his body, he believes in us as a people. Brothers and sisters, Do we believe in ourselves? I'm asking those present today and in television and radio land, I want to fix this problem, but I know how we can fix it. It doesn't start bottom up. This doesn't have to deal with the babies. This problem starts top down. This starts with the grandparents that can hear my voice. I'm inviting you to come, our special citizens, to be a part of Rainbow Push. Grandparents, if you can't make it, do me the favor, tell your children to come. If your children can't make it, tell your grandchildren to come. If your grandchildren can't come, let's bring our great-grandchildren to come. Lest we forget, how did we get here? I thank God for my grandmother Gertrude. She comes from a different generation. She's 91 years old, had 5 children under the age of 20, married for 50 years. At 55, went back to get her GED. At 63, graduated from Hampton. At 65, got her master's. She doesn't have any scratching in her back, doesn't owe a dime to anyone, never borrowed anyone's money, built her own house with my grandfather. Come on, this is the people we are. When are we gonna love one another? Be willing to fight for one another. Speak truth to power.
As the choir prepares to sing, we want you to fight back. We want you to reach back. We want you to call us at 773-575-256-75, 256-5600. Call us right now, 256-2775, 256-275. Those of you who are watching us on Facebook, those of you watching us on YouTube, those of you who are listening to the radio, you can give to us right now. Go to rainbowpush.org and join Rainbow Push. Go to rainbowpush.org and register for the convention. Those of you who are watching and listening, meet us here, meet Reverend Jackson here next Saturday as we prepare to launch the most historic convention in the history of this organization. We want you here, every veteran, every man, every woman, every contractor, every business owner, every educator, every student. Meet us here next Saturday as we kick off our Rainbow Push Convention registration drive. We're looking for 2,000 of you to join us and register. It's $100. You can give right now. Go to rainbowpush.org. Those of you who are in the visible audience, get your checkbooks out, reach in your pockets right now, and you can be prepared to give. While the choir sings, you can swipe. You can go on to rainbowpush.org and give, or if you want, you can call us 773-256-2775, 256-2775.
Oh, no matter what I face, hallelujah, no matter what may come, I am confident in this. God's got me. Anybody glad God got you? Oh, no matter what I face, glory to God, no matter what may come, I am confident in this. God's got me. Listen, He's got me. He's got me. Hallelujah. I am confident in this. God's got me. Come on, everybody say, He's got me. He's got me. Come on, everybody say it. He's got me. I'm confident in this. I am confident
who are here today, it's Memorial Day, and before you go buy your ribs and all of that, I need you to give $100 right now. Reverend Jackson's not here, and the happiest thing we can say to him is, although you had to be away with the family, we were able to keep the offering going. You know, you feel comfortable in here, right? Nod your head if you're comfortable. Well, you have to pay for comfort. I need you to give $100, those of you who can. Francis Davis taught me how to do this. $100, Omar, get your buddies. I did all that fire for y'all. I need the $100 right now from the contractors. Veterans, we appreciate your service. Thank you so much for coming. Those of you who can, $100. I need somebody raising your hands. Preachers and pastors and bishops, I need $100. That's what I'm talking about, Doc. Your wife sang good today. I mean, that's your daughter? Okay, I'm sorry. Your daughter sang wonderful today. I didn't know you could sing like that. She should be singing every Saturday. Thank you so much. You need an envelope. You want to register? You want this to be your registration? Oh, Lord, follow him. Give 100 over and above your registration. That's her registration. She registered already. Listen, we need family registration. He is setting a mark. He doesn't just come and show up. He shows out and gives. Those of you who will give $100 or more, raise your hand. Reverend Rodney Patterson, $100. The Shiloh Baptist Church, we're praying for him as he has just recently lost his mother. Who else will give $100? I'm gonna get to your street. Miss Garnell taught me how to go all the way down. All right, those of you who want to give $50 or more, raise your hand. Thank you. Do you know that this is the only real estate broker that has been here for the entire time of the organization, and she continues to give every week, Miss Geraldine Lambert, whenever she's here. Miss Geraldine Lambert, $50. Thank you so much. Those of you who give $50, just raise your offering. They'll come and get it. How you doing, former Executive Director, Miss Bonita Carr? Former Executive Director, Push Excel. She got on $100 worth of jewelry on one hand. I need y'all to write some checks, Doc. All right? I'm not gonna even talk about the shoes. Paul Vallis, you write a check? Oh, he's doing the swipe. Oh, if you don't have your checkbook, we can swipe right now. Judge Bush, thank you. I was wondering where you're coming my way. This is a $50 right now money, just so you know. My friends come and help. Put her name on there. She had no pen. I'm coming down your street. Oh, where are the contractors? Contractors, we don't march without your support. Got to pay for the signs. I need you to give $35 or more. That's a membership. Those of you who give $35 or more, raise your hand. How much did he swipe? Paul Vallis, $100. You know what, John? We're going to start charging people to speak on the broadcast. That's how we can do this. Everybody get up $100 or more. Okay, those of you who give $25 or more. Boy, this is a rough audience. Y'all trying to buy ribs this week. Okay, thank you, Miss Melissa Farmer Hill. We have your award. All right, those of you who would give something, stand. If you're gonna give something, every dollar, every dime counts. Stand, go to the aisle closest to you, to my right, your left, my left, your right. Would you stand and go there? Make me feel good. Just go touch the thing like you really giving a whole lot of money. Membership applications. Thank you, Susan Mumphrey, $25. Thank you so much. You related to Quentin? I knew that was your brother. This is Quentin's sister. Quentin Mumphrey, Reverend Quentin Mumphrey. Those of you who give anything, won't you come to the aisles closest to you? I can stay here as long as y'all make me wait. We need some giving music. Choir. KB God Giving. $66 from the Push Choir. Thank you so much. Did everybody have a chance to give? If you don't feel like walking, raise your hand and we'll come and collect it. There's no convention meeting today. Our next convention meeting will be next Saturday, immediately following the broadcast. Invite your family and friends to join us as we're going to have a special breakfast kickoff of the convention. It's our Trump party next week for our college graduates like Reverend Zachary Love. He's on his way to college. We'll make it Finger High School Day next week. Anyone else need to swipe your card?
And I know it's true.
All right.
Look and live, my brother, live. Look to Jesus now.
As we prepare to leave this place, why don't you reach out and grab a hand of somebody close to you?
In His word. Oh, hallelujah.
Do me a favor, turn to the person to the left and to the right of you and tell them, I'm pushing for freedom. How about you? Let's pray. Our God and our Father, we are so grateful to be here on this day, to have witnessed what our eyes have seen, ears have heard, hearts have felt, to have been assembled together to continue to carry forward your agenda towards freedom, towards liberation, towards social justice, towards the gospel, bringing life to those who are lifeless, bringing sense to those who are senseless. Continue to watch over us and protect us. First and foremost, our leader, our teacher, our civil rights progenitor, the Reverend Dr. Jesse Jackson Sr. Continue to bless those who follow in his footsteps to make justice live, breathe, and move in these days and times. Continue to bless our nation and our world. And then most importantly, bless those of us who are assembled in this place. Give us the capacity to come back with minds to serve you, hearts to fill those who need you, and then feet to do that which you have planted us to do. And we ask it in your name, Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. Every heart said amen, amen, amen. God bless you.